It's 7:52 a.m. on a snowy Tuesday. I'm gripping the wheel of my SUV, inching down the 401. Late again. I barely got my youngest into the schoolyard before the bell rang, and my coffee, it's cold and full on the kitchen counter. I forgot to drink it. I am boxed in by trucks, feeling anxious with one eye on the road, one eye on the clock. The windshield wipers are thudding like a metronome for a life moving too fast. And suddenly, a thought hit me, sharp, clear, and terrifying. If I keep going like this, something is going to break. And it might be me. I wish I could tell you this was the first time I felt like this, but it wasn't. It was just the first time that I admitted that I couldn't keep going like this. I used to think that I could do it all. The job, the kids, the meetings, the meals, the expectations. 10 balls in the air all day, every day. I even made it look good. People used to ask me how I did it all, and I'd smile like I had some secret, but really inside, there were some days that I was barely holding it together. I felt like a bystander in my own life, watching scenes play out as I raced from one responsibility to the next, hoping that I didn't drop something important. And it was that drive, that moment, that I decided to make a change, to stop living a life where I was measuring my worth based on how many balls I could keep up in the air, and instead, to design a life where I didn't have to juggle so many to begin with. So I stopped asking myself how to keep up, and instead, I started asking what actually matters. Because I had to admit to myself that I wasn't just overwhelmed, but I was overcommitted to a version of success that left no room for me. And that is when Sunday Funday was born. Now, if you're thinking about mimosas and matching t-shirts, then hold on. It's not that kind of fun. It's different. It's a ritual, a reset. Every Sunday, I make breakfast for my family, and they meet me at the kitchen table. We do something wild. We talk, we plan, we create must-do lists, packing the backpacks, getting homework done, booking all of those appointments. Even those forms that nobody wants to do, we get them done together as a family. And then we stop. The rest of the day is walks to the park, board games, cuddles on the couch. It's time to be instead of do. And this sounds simple, but it saved me. Because I hadn't felt something for a very long time. Free. I used to think that the problem was me. If I could just wake up earlier, stay up later, say yes with more enthusiasm, then I could catch up. But then I started paying attention, and I realized the problem wasn't me, or at least not just me, but the problem was us. All of us, especially women, especially mothers, especially those of us trying to lead at work and show up at home. We've been handed a system not designed for us. And when it feels hard, we're told to just juggle harder. And when we drop some balls, we're told it's because we weren't strong enough, organized enough, dedicated enough. We just weren't good enough. Or maybe that's the message we're telling ourselves. But what if the issue isn't with the juggler, but it's with this system and with the expectation that we should be juggling to begin with? The 2024 American Time Use Survey shows that parents of young kids spend 2.5 hours a day, every day, taking care of our kids. That's before the commute, before the job, before that mental capacity of birthday gifts, field trips, doctor's appointments, blue shirt day, all the moving parts of our lives. Add work to that, that's an extra 8.5 hours. And we think we're done. but we're not because we're asked to do extra. We're asked to contribute to the bake sale, to participate in a brainstorm meeting, to do a side project. We're asked for a quick favor. I'd love to hear from you. How many of you have been asked for a mentoring meeting lately? Yeah. And it's not that we don't want to do it, but when you add up all the time, we don't have available hours for this. And so we have two choices. We either say no, and we're considered difficult, maybe not a good friend, maybe not a good colleague or team player. Maybe we just don't care that much about the job. Or we say yes, and we are signing ourselves up to burn out. Because here's the thing, we can pretend that if we just optimize, work harder, wake up earlier, go to bed later, that there's a way we can get it done. But we can't, because there are not enough hours in the day, and we are not machines. We are people. This doesn't sound to me like personal failure. This is structural failure. And we are operating in a system that is way overdue for transformation. Here's the irony that stopped me in my tracks. At the same time that I could barely get through a regular Tuesday, I was leading one of the biggest transformations in the country. I was vice president of Transformation Services at Walmart Canada. I was helping teams work better, faster, smarter, more agile, less red tape, more human, more aligned. And I was leading a strategy session, and one day it hit me. Why wasn't I using these tools in my own life? Why wasn't I treating my time like the valuable, precious, limited resource that it was? Why was I able to teach teams and other people how to thrive, but I wasn't thriving in my own life? It was then that I realized that I had been bowing to a false idol, the myth of doing it all. And like every great myth, it was time to be rewritten. So I stopped trying to juggle it all. And I stopped doing all those things that I really didn't need to do. I started to apply lessons of agility to my own life, to focus on outcomes over hours, limit work in progress, and to anticipate and respond to change rather than wait and end up in chaos. Agility is here to help us move faster, but also to help us design lives that work for us rather than the other way around. So I stopped saying yes to things out of guilt, and I started saying yes to the people and projects that mattered. What I figured out is that every time I had been saying yes, by default, I was saying no to something else because I was giving away that time. And I was done saying no to my family, my friends, my health, my wellness, my joy. So I stopped saying no to those things. I also started using my own time better. I eliminated duplication, like having both parents call the school about the same issues. I stopped overloading my schedule. In a short lunch break, rather than add 10 things to do, I only added the one or two that I could reasonably do without stress. I stopped having the same conversations over and over because we weren't paying attention the first few times. I waited until we were both present and focused and then had the discussion. I created processes for pickups, for planning, for when a kid is sick at school, for when my day is imploding and I just need to recalibrate. Agility is not just about going faster, but it's about designing the systems that work for us, that flex with us rather than fracture us. So we started syncing up, checking in, getting things done, and then celebrating our success. My kids, they learned how to prioritize, and my husband and I stopped triaging and started talking. We created a life that worked for us and not the other way around. We didn't become a well-oiled machine, but we became something better, a responsive, resilient human system. And agility didn't make me superhuman, but it made my life sustainable. I stopped disappearing into the margins of my own story. I was here, present. And isn't that what matters? So if you are sitting here with 10 balls in the air wondering when one's going to drop, you don't need a new plan. You need a process. Start with a retrospective review of the last 30 days of your life. Ask yourself, what gave you clarity? What gave you connection? And most importantly, over the next month, what are you going to do differently so that you don't just survive it, but you actually live it? Because even though we're operating in a system and a life not designed for us, we can design our life so that we no longer have to juggle.